Sorry, Anonymous. Yeah, I was just setting up a stream so you could see this as I tested it. I thought you might be interested to see it. Can you just confirm if you're picking that up okay? Oh, there we go. Cool, as long as it's working okay. All right, so bring this into view. Java dash jar. Okay, so experimental system is running. Does it connect? No, it won't connect because the file's wrong. Let's just modify that. There we go. Okay, so enet does not work with it. Where did my... There. Okay, so RUDP dgram, we're going to need to get RUDP dropped in here. Just install that quickly. Okay. See how that works, shall we? That was a very stupid mistake. There we go. Okay, great. So providing we get this working, then we should be okay, hopefully, if it works. That doesn't fill me with much hope. You able to throw together a client quickly? For example, it sends is that testing with a Java client? Yeah. So what's different between the Java one and this one? At the end of the day, they are both still running over standard, what's it called? UDP sockets, either way. Sorry, UDP protocol. So, you know, there can only be so much that is different. That could be a valid point, yes. If it's any constellation. Constellation? Oh well, you know what I mean. I have, click new, no, this isn't gonna work. New, paste, file, save as. Okay, so that there is a working system. Seems to only work once though. No, anonymous. It will not send to the Java one. However, I have one here for Node.js, which does work. So, it raises the question, do we go with a Java implementation of the server and have to rewrite the bridge? Which also means potentially he already has a bridge in Java already. He did have one originally, but it didn't work on UDP, which is why I wrote this bridge. Plus, we've already got people familiar to an existing UI. Oh, he's refixed it, has he? Ah. So what can he do with UI and what can he replicate of the one that I've already built? Hey, Davey.
How's everything going?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Awesome stuff.
Okay, I can compile Node.js to a singular exe for servers. And I presume I could equally do it from exe to whatever executable format. Yeah, PKG.
Going back to Java.
Well, here's the issue. We are currently stuck with a bit of a predicament. We were building the new server out of C++, however, we're hitting a load of issues with, what's it called? With one of the network libraries for it.
Okay.
Now, we've already successfully done a test for that library in Java. And I equally just then, in just a few seconds, replicated it in Node.js. Now, theoretically, either of the implementations will work to do the job.
Right.
But if we go to Java, it means we've got to rebuild the bridge in Java as well. If we go to Node.js, we have to, well, just modify the current servers as they are a little bit.
Okay. So Node.js is the way you're going then, is it?
I don't know. It's something we all need to agree on. It's a shame that we couldn't get the C++ implementation going, but how much time do we waste trying to get it working?
Yeah. That's understandable.
And that's my primary concern right now is how much time do we waste trying to do various things? Now I know that I can finish modifying the server. Yeah, I agree. Recreating RUDP on C++ will be a nightmare. It definitely will.
Right.
I'm personally, excluding talking to all the other developers, inclined to say that we go down the route of just, just perform the small amounts of work required to finish the Node.js server,
Okay. Yep. Fair enough.
only for the reason that I already have it all working. It already works with the existing bridge that people are now used to, and I already have the bridge ready with server lists and everything.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough then.
But equally, people will turn around and say that they're not too happy with JavaScript or Node.js. But I guess, it comes down to that thing of personal preference on languages, really.
Is there any disadvantage to using JavaScript or Node.js compared to using the C++? Okay. So it's not a significant issue or anything in the way.
No, the primary thing that I wanted was to be able to put it into a compiled exe or other binary depending on operating system. Now,
Yeah.
the bridge is currently quite large, sitting at 120 meg. That's not to say it can't necessarily be decreased either, given it was the very first one that I did release.
Allow me to interrupt you, but it's not 120, it's 120 when compressed, because when extracted it is more than 400 megs.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, it is quite a large file.
It is. Yes, Bob. In what sense? What do you mean, Bob? There are a couple of our UDP implementations for C++ that already exist. The trouble is finding documentation for them and ensuring that they work. And that they work is the key piece to the puzzle right now. Is that we did implement our UDP, but the library does not work, and we cannot find documentation to explain why it doesn't work. Something for the fact that it's probably 10 years old doesn't help in our favor, unfortunately. At least I believe it's about 10 years old. Ooh. Yeah, I know you managed to get UDP working on C++ as it was, which proves that it's not the issue in that.
Because you tried eNet and such, didn't you?
Yes, eNet was what we were trying, and unfortunately cannot get it to work.
Just because it's so old and whatever.
Yeah. We did get it running, but it wouldn't pick up on any connections or anything.
Ah.
Yeah, which was obviously even more frustrating out than all of it. It just didn't accept any connections, Bob. Nothing we tried would connect with it. Nothing at all. I tried a Node.js eNet client that I had found built by the same developers, and it didn't even connect with it. Okay, we have a couple of ways to look at this. Okay, well, yeah, that's fine. At the end of the day, you can always do personal projects. I'm currently looking at what it would take to make it work in the Node.js server that I had done previously. At the end of the day, that was working. Most people are managing to run on that. All of the existing public servers are running on it. So I'm gonna look at it at the end of the day. Damn, not good, Anonymous. But I definitely really would like to try and get this out there. Okay, Anonymous. I'm happy to take a look. It's 8 years old. Well, only just. Interestingly, look, written on Java at its core, which is interesting. No information on it though, which is a bit concerning. Hey Moonbug, you're likely muted in this channel because it's designed for developers to be able to talk and you guys to be able to listen in if you want to. Hope you understand. Fair enough, Anonymous. Not unless at some point it can run on a Java for its source, perhaps? Don't know. Okay, so that can go, that can go. That can go, that can go. Delete. Okay, so didn't want that button. Whoops. I still didn't want that button. That's twice I've clicked it now. There we go. Da 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 da. What's up, Anonymous? Sorry, I'll just be one moment. I will be back.
That's a lot of missing characters. Oh, damn, yeah.
Alright, sorry about that, I'm back. Or I'll be disappearing again in about 30 seconds as a thing will be done in the microwave. What?
Nothing.
Much. So, I've got a basic client-server example script here, and it works. So in my opinion, that counts for something. Now, client would obviously be there, so the server would be this part. So literally that there is everything. That's it. Strange, the setup is almost the identical to how TCP is done, i.e. first you create the connection and then on events of the connection you have the data. So it's quite an interesting fact that it works almost identically to TCP. However, it is very, very clearly UDP still, and it's running off the dgram library, whereas TCP runs off of the net library, literally just net. So whatever it is UDP, but it is certainly more like, certainly a lot more like it. But the thread doesn't stop and wait. What do you mean it doesn't stop and wait? That's exactly what we want. We don't want it to stop and wait, because otherwise that will create hangs. Oh, yeah, you're agreeing with that. Okay, sorry. I thought you was like trying to express that it was a problem or something. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why we're not using TCP, other than for messages at the current moment. But obviously that's why we're looking to change that. I suppose if we're running on just one network protocol, then obviously we can likely speed that up. But we'll experiment with a base idea of what we're trying to achieve here, which is to adapt the server in some respect, one way or another, into a reliable UDP setup, in the intentions of trying to increase speed. However, my microwave has just finished, so I'll be back in a moment.
Okay. I've no idea about any of this programming stuff. Like, legit, no idea. And you've probably already seen this, but just in case it is useful, hello. is this any good? Is this useful for anything? Everything on it seems really bare bones, and I don't know what any of it means.
All right, sorry about that. I'm back now. What did you say, Jade? It's okay.
Yeah, is that actually useful?
C++ header only, aiming at providing various asynchronous UDP-based sockets. I don't know if Jojo saw it either. Do you want to try and implement that into the C++ branch and see if it'll work? Yes, Moonbug. Oh.
I try.
Hold on, I haven't seen it just yet. I'm currently pulling up stream links. Okay. I can try yes. You don't know programming, but you sure know how to support. In the plan section of his GitHub, add reliable order protocol.
Uh,
Yeah, I agree.
mm,
Seems a little bit suspicious.
oh well. I didn't want to not paste it just in case it was useful. Fair enough.
Okay, Anonymous, let me know how that turns out. For the meantime, I'm going to try and have a look at implementing this in. So, did I commit this? Okay, so I'm thinking if we new file rudp.js, we now have our own UDP existence. Even though that's entirely the wrong word, but you know what I mean. It'll work.
Don't really know what that means, but yay, promising.
What he means is, even though it was originally designed for Objective-C, we may be able to convert it for C++, which is the language we are working in, or
Okay.
intending to work in, other than the fact that Jojo has managed to make it work for Java, and I've managed to make it work for JavaScript. We just still haven't managed to make it work for C++ as of yet. And I believe Bob Loblaw is working on a Rust implementation. So at the moment, it looks like we've been able to implement it in everything but the language we wanted to actually do it in, which is
That's,
nowhere near ideal. But at the same time, that's just how it is sometimes.
yeah.
Okay, so this would be function broadcast, and then the data we want to broadcast. There we go. And then broadcast all will be this one. Then again, what would in TCP would we actually send that would be we'll just leave that one as it is for now. So on connection, we store the connection. Yes, that's correct. We're going to bind to a 30814 port. And for the moment being 30814 there. Oops. Okay, so this should, in theory, bounce back any data it receives. No, it should print it, sorry, on data, and then what we'll do is broadcast it. That way we actually can send it back to the client. which is probably going to be a terrible idea, but hey ho. Actually, we should do this really, shouldn't we? So we have broadcast, we then have connect C for client. Broadcast takes C, and then we loop through all of them. If C is equal to connection, hold on, we're missing brackets here. If C is equal to connection, so this will prevent it from sending to itself, which means one client does not receive its own data. At least that's the intention. Okay. Let's see if that works. Node R. Oops. Okay. The question is that only for compiling, or is that going to be required throughout in the project? And boost normally is quite large because it's, I believe, if I remember correctly, it's a parallel program library sort of thing. Allows for parallel programming. I expect a large reply is coming, isn't it? Anonymous, how did you and Jojo's test? Oh, yeah, that's not filling me with much hope then if we can't necessarily trust it. How did you and Jojo's test network speed that you could achieve over our UDP? Or what the maximum size was that you could send? I can open a port. Would you like to try and spam me with data? Well, actually, I could open it on a dedicated server. One of the servers we actually run the game servers from. No, using a Node.js client. But I could set it up as a pre-written script, and then all it is just an exe that you've got to run. Or would you like to write it on your end? Okay, I'll compile it as an exe. Okay, so this server does run. So clear ace. Okay. Now, how was you getting it to display the file size received? Was you measuring bytes, characters? What? Because we can. If you could send me an 8 kilobyte file string then that'd be great. Actually, what's the largest amount of data that we actually send in BeamNG? Is it nodes or is it vehicle creation? Hmm. Okay, package.json and rudp.json, control C, server, servers, BeamNG MP server, right click, paste, cancel. Made a mistake there, didn't we? Right click, new, folder, right click, paste. Command window, npm I. Okay. So that is a server. And then in that case, this can be a client. Ugh. Yeah, we're not doing this. Okay, so we now have a server running on there. What What's up with you? Cannot read data of length undefined. So probably because the data is currently blank. So if we send hey, do you happen to know if our UDP requires the new line? Anonymous. Alright, we'll try it without. Cannot read property length of undefined. Client JS line 18. Well, what's going on here? We'll send it every 10th of a second. Copy payload is not a function. What is this going on? Client line 20. Doesn't like this, whatever's going on here. Maybe it's because it's not a buffer. Maybe it can't send strings, it needs to be a buffer. No wonder. Hey Sam18. There, yeah, new buffer. Right click, copy, Control V, done. Hello, whoever just unmuted. Okay, so it's depreciated, but is it running? Yes. Okay, so what we're going to do, var I equals 0, plus I, and then I plus plus. Okay, well there's a very small amount of delay, but that's sending. Yes, this is our UDP. And that was sending every 10th of a second. So if we was to send every 25 milliseconds, it almost works. You know what, should we take this one step further? We could actually measure the time between each of these because we've set it at an interval of 25 milliseconds. So what we can do is we can read it on the server to measure the time between these packets, and then we know what it's actually sending at. So var L time equals 0. On data we get this. Then what we're going to do, L time equals what is it? Oh dear God. This may not have been such a smart idea. Now, given this will allow for what is our individual pings, we'll need to keep that in mind, that obviously that is included in this. Damn, what did I miss? There you go. So that's a pretty consistent, while streaming, 50 millisecond delay between packets. Now keep in mind that I'm sending every 25 milliseconds. That allows for about a 25 millisecond ping on my end between me and the server, which overall I say is not bad at all. think we can all agree. What do you think, Anonymous? Or Davey? Either of you?
Go on, yeah, go on. Talk over it again. Paying attention.
Alright, I'll try running it on every 1 millisecond. Here's where I'm going to get accused of DDoSing or something. Or it'll crash. Okay, this is a 1 millisecond sending. Okay, so there's definitely a maximum amount that we can send at, isn't there? Alright, well, you test without a delay on while true. But this is just experimental. What worked on Java? RUDP. Oh, I see. We can try that too. I think yeah, I'm not getting any packet loss here either. Look, that is a very clear counter. So we don't need to worry about that. That it is definitely 0 packet loss going by this. I'm going to take a guess that every now and then there is a small packet loss though, because occasionally the millisecond count jumps up, like then there was 2 of them. But the number order is still correct. So in theory this works. Out of curiosity, how many can we send in what's it called? So if we was to do this, see how many packets it can send in 5 seconds, for example. Is it clear interval? Right, t equals set interval, clear interval t. I will just delete what is not being used at this point. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, fair enough. Okay, so 1 minute after the scripts, 1 second after the script starts, the interval is set, and then after 5 seconds we reset that so that we can now measure how many we actually can send in a period of 5 seconds. Okay, that's running. That's running. Going by this, my thing doesn't know how to count 5 seconds.
Bit of a bugger.
Sorry?
That's a bit of a bugger.
It is a bit, isn't it? Uh-oh. Good luck there. Doesn't even run. Okay, so it can send about 80-ish updates. In 5 seconds. So that puts us closer to the, what's it called? Don't know. Okay, so that's 16 updates a second. Okay, so if we instead send new date, so we send the date to it. And then obviously this receives the date. 27. Stupid thing. Good work, Anonymous. Thank you, UK Drifter. Okay, so what even is this?
back in 2 minutes.
Sure. Okay. Either way, it works. Oh, I see. It's currently midnight here for us. Sekono, can you actually hear me okay? If you can, just comment back, and in which case I'll just talk to you and read the comments as you reply. Okay, cool. That's good that you hear me then. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be quite a bit of delay though, as well, as you can see, I'm playing around with music. Music? Nope, I read someone's username there, non-stop music. But we're playing around with networks and spamming them as fast as it can, as proven here. Is not defined, okay. There we go. So, as you see, currently sending packets, not impressively fast, but equally quite fast. And this was returning about a 50 millisecond ping. And right now, my ping would sit at 18. Once you allow for the rest of the stuff across the internet, it's about reflected correctly. Plus the fact that it's TCP, which means it needs to validate that it has sent it and received it. So that's why the ping sits a little bit higher. However, for those of you that are watching, you might be interested in seeing the new bridge, which we will now be able to implement this new network system into. This is what I want to get working, this serverless just here. Okay, so if we're going to move from net, what do we need, what don't we need? We don't need that, we don't need that. We will subsequently end up having the bumper version, but we'll deal with that at the time. Now this makes use of our UDP and dgram. So let's include both of those now. Now args.port, we don't actually require this. So what we'll do is we'll just modify this to reflect the new system. We don't need to do any of those. Are we going to use a WebSocket server or not? That is the real question. Now, personally, ignoring input from the other developers, I think we should. Yeah, of course you could ask me a question. I'm from the UK. Lincoln is where I'm currently living, if that's any interest to you. Can I ask why you ask? Which is a bit of a funny thing to say, but you know what I mean. Like, what makes you ask, where am I from? Oh, I see. Fair enough. Okay. Now, how do we want to do this? This is obviously going to be an RUDP server setup. And we can close Teams. I don't know why that's open right now. Just a quick check of Discord. What is it with people and wanting to discuss their computers on this Discord now? Everyone seems to be doing it. How long have I been working on this from the start? Well, officially, as far as general public are aware, the start was back in January. Yeah, start was back in. Oh, sorry, June, not January. June 2018. Sorry, June 18th, 2019 was when I initially put out the first post, which actually was just this bit here. And since then, obviously, it's expanded into all of this and into 7 pages of comments. However, I found Jojo's, who also had been working on his own implementation, and we ended up coming together to create the project as it is now. However, he lost interest in it shortly after because of the amount of work required to try and implement both of our work together. So I stayed on and tried to continue to get it done, and he went on in his own direction in life. And then just the other weekend, things started getting busy again, and he would like to help again. So I was like, of course, at the end of the day, I'm not going to turn down help, nor am I going to stop you being a part of it. So all in all, we've been working on it together since what was probably about the end of June, on and off. And hello, Uden? Udnen? I'm sorry, I'm not sure quite how to pronounce that one. Where was what I was looking for? Here. Thank you, I appreciate that. Where has... What was I looking for? RUDP. Did I copy something wrong here? I think I must have. I did. Okay, so we jump straight into bind from... Yes, okay. Oh, that was nearly a mistake. So we bind to the port and we apply socket to it, which comes from here. Okay, that's not a problem. We are going to take that though and move it to there, and then equally do the same with this. What's KCP Anonymous? I'm not familiar with KCP protocol. Uses UDB by the looks of it, and it's reliable. Okay. And what is it built on? Like, what languages is it for? Is it only for C++ though? Or does it compile for other, sorry, is it available for other languages as well? Oh, well, a month old is still a good start because that means that there's recent activity, which is very good for us. Okay, so our UDP dgram UDP4 bind to our port. Now, what do we want to do in relation to ports? How do we choose to do this? I suppose in the bridge we could implement something into the configuration. Yeah, there is quite a lot of code to this. What I'm working on right here is the bridge, so this bit. This is probably what you're more used to seeing, but this is a new version that I've been working on. So you've got your direct connect, which comes up with this information, so you can join your friends or anything like that. And then there's this servers tab, which will display all of the public servers here. And then there's a little join button that shows up just here that you can click to automatically join a public server, and it tells you how many players, where in the world it's located, the map it's using, and all those sorts of bits of information. Okay, so we already have dgram. Yes. We need to pull our UDP. Dgram create socket, dgram create socket, UDP4. Oh, thanks. But no, thank you. At the end of the day, there is a lot of time that all of us are putting into trying to make this into something properly. But in terms of it becoming part of the game, you know, it will be whatever the developers of the game itself are happy to do. I've got a fairly strong suspicion that they will likely not want to implement this as actually part of the game. But obviously I don't speak for them. I don't really have any contact with them, so therefore obviously I can only speculate. You never know. It's not impossible. But that is all I can really say. Okay, so what do we have? Client RDP RUDP.client. Now, okay, so there is a close option, which is good because we're going to need that to be able to actually correctly handle this, especially if we want to get that reset button working, which I really would like to get working. So we have our client, then it connects to this. Now this is actually wrong. There we go. Now that should connect accordingly to what we want. Now we don't want to resume that. We don't actually need that at all. Nor do we need to process the input through command line anywhere. Sorry, Sekono, I don't quite understand what you're trying to say there. That's done wrong. Okay, so TCP server listens. Then it says that it's ready. The TCP server gets connected from the game, prints that the game is connected. Then the TCP client clicks in and connects to the server. Okay, so this is where we actually need to look at doing the stuff. So we then do that, at which point we then drop into this if statement, which basically if config dot use underscore RUDP. So if we are not using RUDP, then we run this data Neological tested the multiplayer mod, and I'm so fascinated I want to help. Oh, I see. Well, thank you. What's up, Davey?
Hello?
I said, what's up? It's a rather deep breath.
Oh, right. So good. I'm just seeing what KCP is.
Oh. Okay, so think. Okay, how are we going to do this? So if not using our UDP, we run the typical TCP setup. Else, we create a new client, but there's not really much in the way of establishing. That's okay, Sakono. We got there in the end, didn't we? Okay, so Yeah, he put that video together shortly after we were talking to Komodo Gaming, which is the guy that he did the video with. They came to us the day before or so, asking if it was all right and whatnot. Of which, of course, we were like, we don't mind what you do, choose to do your videos on. All we ask is that you at least put a link towards the project, so that it helps raise awareness. And that's exactly what they did. So if TCP in, wait, we have a socket here. Okay, so we actually need to pass the data back upon receiving it. So that's that. And equally, game to server. I guess we should put something here. TCP, no. RUDP. RUDP. Yeah, I agree. I think that it did help to make this popular. The post on Reddit seems to be the biggest source of people to join. So that was quite interesting, if I'm honest. Look at how much smaller this code here is, Davey, or Anonymous, compared to the TCP just above it.
Yeah.
So this here is TCP. This is RUDP. Crazy. Yeah, significantly smaller Anonymous. Thank you, UK Drifter. I just want to point out that the developers of the game recently made a comment on their Reddit and on the forums in relation to multiplayer, saying how that they did basically they did quite a lot of testing to try and see if multiplayer was possible, but apparently there is something, a void or a gap, as they put it, that basically means that it's not possible to the fullest extent. Now, my argument is, how far do you take that extent for a game that is in early access, really, as it is? You know, look at how happy people are with just the level that we've already achieved, and we've barely scraped the surface in what we can do. Right now, we're just trying to set a decent foundation for the rest of it. So, potentially this could get significantly better. I know that we're very much interested in getting nodes synchronized at the moment. However, this is requiring us to rethink our network model in how we are transmitting data between players, which is why I'm doing the work on this code that you see in front of me now, because unfortunately we've got to rethink it. Is this the first program you have made? I'd say it's the first program on this scale that I've made, but definitely not the first program in itself that I've made. Why? What makes you ask? Damn. It crashed. Where did it crash? No, I would definitely say I don't know more than the devs do. At the end of the day, they are the people that have put together the game as it stands now. I'm just a master's student. So no, I would not say that I know more than the devs. Unexpected end of input, main 381. 381 here. Okay. Ah, there's the problem. Well, thank you. I'm glad you guys think that. But just remember that this isn't all me now. I mean, what you guys received initially, that was mostly a mix of my work and some of Jojo's old work. He put together a lot of the original code for getting vehicle specific information, and reapplying that data, and I put together the network that links it all together from there. So yeah, credit definitely still goes to him for some of this, at least. Ugh, more crashes. Dialog module can only be used after app is ready. Dialog module can only be used after app is ready. Okay, what line? What's the cause of this? Appreciate events. Main 44. So there's an on-call exception. Yes, here we go. So just above this, there's an error. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear and start again. Now we can look at the full problem. Cannot find module RUDP. There we go. npm i -- save RUDP. Clear, run. Still got a problem. Buffer tools doesn't like something. npm rebuild. What's going on here? Whoa. Oh no. Okay, what about if we do npm uninstall RUDP? And if we start, should get something that, yeah, cannot find RUDP. Okay, that's fine, because what we'll now do is go to here and here, and we'll copy RUDP out of that, drop it in here, and GitHub server node modules are RUDP, Control C, bridge node modules, Control V. Now, can you do it? No. Was worth a try. Module not found. Cannot find module buffer tools. Interesting. Server modules, buffer tools, copy, bridge, node modules, right click, paste. How's it going with that library, Anonymous? Okay. How long do you think you need in order to be able to pull a result? Okay, I can wait around 10 minutes. Other than that, I'm going to have to head off to bed as I've got work tomorrow. Damn it. Okay, and what was the result? You got it working. What client did you use with it? As in, you made a C++ client. Okay. So is the way forward to make the bridge in C++? Yeah, mine too. Because I know that they do the interface um, electron for C++. I'm sure there's an equivalent. Okay, well that is a good start. HTML, CSS, C++, UI. Wow, nice work, Anonymous.
Awesome.
Understandable. Right, in that case, if we can find a system so that we can port the UI that I've already made into a C++ bridge, then I guess we could go with that. All right, Anonymous. Good night. We'll hit this tomorrow when we've both got some sleep and woken up a bit more after the fact. I only got about 3 and a bit hours sleep last night.
Good God, man.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
Speaking of, I need to get some sleep as well. So I'll see you guys another time.
Not
guys.
a problem. See you soon, Davey. Good night, Anonymous. And I think I too am going to call it a night. Good night all, and we will pick this up tomorrow.